Fuck yes, guys! Woo!
This is the moment I realized I completely fell in love with sim racing again. 2019 and 2020 were pretty shitty years because of, reasons. So I decided that moving out of my parents' house was a great idea during a global pandemic. The responsibilities and freedom were a welcoming change, but I underestimated the lack of social contact. Because of COVID restrictions, I couldn't invite many friends on a frequent basis. Yes, we have Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, LinkedIn and other social medias, but let's face it, they aren't that great. But then I discovered Discord. My discovery of Discord was through a colleague at work. Somewhere in 2020, we started randomly chatting about our interests in F1, which driver we like, which one we dislike, how the last race was. Eventually, the topic of sim racing got mentioned, which we both enjoyed quite much. In the years before, I mainly played Project Cars 1 and 2 and the Gran Turismo games, but the sim racing fire was a bit burnt out by 2019. My colleague mentioned racing in an Assetto Corsa league with the Potato Nation, aka Lawrence de Sossoa's Discord. He sent me an invite shortly after and was convincing me that I should join. My social anxiety of meeting new people was holding me back, but eventually I joined on the 1st of April 2021. No, this is no joke. Literally, 1st of April. I joined the running Saturday League racing the Mini JCW Challenge. My first race was at Cascavel, a track I have never driven before, and Assetto Corsa, a sim I haven't driven in years, so I was pretty nervous. I don't have any race replay, but to my surprise, I was actually doing pretty good. I had fastest lap in practice, I qualified in P2, and actually managed to win my first race. Then the second race at Alton Park, I qualified P1, and I also won that race. Then the weekend at Donington Park, I finished P3 and P1 in the two races we had there. Seeing as this was my first experience in clean and respectful online racing, I was pleasantly surprised to see I had pace. I kept hanging out in Lawrence's Discord, had some great memorable moments hanging out in the voice chats, and met some very nice people over there. The two following Assetto Corsa championships running British touring cars and the Ginetta G55 GT4 were also a blast, further reigniting my interest for sim racing. I learned a lot of racecraft and other things in the Discord and found a great way to spend otherwise empty and lonely moments of living alone in a pandemic. Assetto Corsa quickly got almost 200 hours of game time in the span of 8 months. My rig was finally being used frequently and not just gathering dust in the corner. But as with every hobby that you're passionate about, you start looking at upgrades. And oh boy, sim racing upgrades can send you down a big ass rabbit hole. Let's just say that 2021 was a difficult year to save money. Just to clarify, you don't need expensive and big setups to enjoy sim racing. Most of my experience was on a T100 and a T150 clamped on my desk. I don't have that many old pictures, but this is the progression of my setup throughout the years. The T150 eventually got replaced with the T300 RS GT edition, and I bought a Playseat Challenge along with it. When I moved to my own apartment, I replaced the Challenge with a Playseat Revolution. But being in Lawrence's Discord, you see some of the most crazy and amazing alu profile rigs that some other members have. So I eventually entered that upgrade path too, and this is my current setup. This configuration got finalized 6 days before my biggest sim racing challenge to date. SCCR Sim Sports organized a charity event at Le Mans, a full 24-hour race with the LMP2, GTE and GT3 car classes. Doing a full 24-hour event against real players was always the childhood dream when playing Gran Turismo 5. Now that I had a chance to be part of such an event, I didn't hesitate to join one of the two Potato Nation teams. In the weeks leading up to the race, I started practicing. It wasn't going to be easy, as the race was in iRacing. My iRacing experience has been pretty limited up until that point, so I had to learn how the sim works and react, I had to learn the car, and I had to learn the track. So that's what I did. I did laps and laps and laps. During the day, during the night, during dusk, testing out stints, how the tires would hold up, how far I can push them, testing out the limits of the track, and seeing how long I could stay focused. After roughly a total of 15 hours practicing at different times and with different track temps, I was ready. Nervous, but ready.
GC3 green green green.
The race started and we quickly got in the groove and time was flying by. I did a third stint driving the car from dusk into the early night. The position of the sun in the sim was identical to my last practice session, which led to a sudden boost of confidence. And with that confidence, I went onto the track. Sharing the track with two faster classes was pretty daunting, but I eventually got used to it and knew when to let them pass. So I got in the groove and did my stint. I wasn't paying attention to the lap times, but my team was cheering me on, saying I was being extremely consistent. After 26 laps, my first stint was done. Then a few hours later I had my second one in the middle of the night where I set my fastest lap. With the team we discussed doing an extended one, so instead of driving 2 fuel tanks before a driver swap, fueling up and driving a third. I also had practiced this before, but we did notice that for the first stint that I'm really hard on the tires. I wouldn't be able to triple run the tires, so I changed them at the second pit stop. After that second, and presumably final stint, I went to rest for a few hours and thought I'd be spectating until the end of the race. When I woke up and hopped back into the rig, we had about 2 hours left. Our team leader was driving the final stint, but he was making small mistakes here and there. He had been doing an amazing job the whole race, but was also awake for over 24 hours non-stop. The team decided to let me take the wheel at the next pit stop. This was it. The final stretch. I was well rested and motivated to get back on track. That unexpected and final stint was simply unreal. I wasn't thinking of lap times, but I had my eyes on the prize of bringing the car home. Yet I was driving the most consistent I've ever done. First 3 laps after the outlap were within 2/10 of each other. The moment I crossed the line, I was just so relieved. We had done it. The team brought the car home after 24 hours.
Fuck yes, guys! Woo!
For a first attempt at endurance racing, this was the best result we could have wished for.
God fucking damn it. That is insane.
And this was the moment that I realized 2021 will forever be the year I completely fell in love with sim racing again.